Are Filipino Muslims training with Abu Sayyaf? And Kim Jong-un calls for combat readiness. Plus, a former Chinese premier's daughter could be the next one snared for graft, and messaging app Viber could be out of Korea. For Wednesday, February 25th, 2015, this is the Asia Brief. The Philippine government is currently attempting to validate photographs depicting members of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or MILF, training in Sulu with the presence of Abu Sayyaf group. There is a report from the Ceasefire Committee about their own analysis, Miriam Coronel Ferrer said at a Senate hearing on Tuesday. Photographs were sent to Senator Grace Poe by Sulu Vice Governor Abu Dakasur Tan. The Western Mindanao Command provided information on the photographs to authorities. MILF negotiating chairman Mohagar Iqbal could not immediately confirm the authenticity of the photographs, although they were presented at a congressional hearing in January. He says the pictures simply show MILF members recruiting in Sulu, noting there's no information in the photographs about Abu Sayyaf and that he hasn't received a copy of the photograph to verify its contents with MILF leadership. According to state media, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un told the Central Military Commission they needed to be fully ready to react to any form of war to be ignited by the enemy. The official KCNA news agency reported the commission had also discussed a radical turn in national defense operations, but did not provide further details. This latest report comes on the heels of the military drills overseen by Kim, in which the DPRK forces were seen simulating an attack on a South Korean island. Next week, South Korea and the United States begin the annual Key Resolve joint military drill. According to a military spokesman, quote, North Korea should stop taking issue with the joint military exercises, which are defensive and held annually in a transparent way, end quote. North Korea views these drills as hostile and a prelude to war. Chinese President Xi Jinping's anti-corruption probe could target the daughter of former Premier Li Peng. Li Xiaolin, daughter of Li Peng, heads China Power International Development, which is likely one of the 26 state-owned businesses which are being investigated. Many of the recent anti-corruption actions have involved companies related to the former premier's family. Dai Qing, an independent analyst in Beijing, said that Li Xiaolin's well-known taste for expensive clothes has helped make her a target in the high-profile cases, although it remains unclear how the investigation will play out. It was recently leaked that Li and her husband deposited nearly $2.5 million into Swiss accounts a few years ago. That alone creates a huge red flag for Beijing. SK Telecom, South Korea's leading mobile phone carrier, recently won a district court case against smartphone mobile messaging application Viber. The decision could send the technology company out of Korea. The court said Viber infringed on 4 of SK Telecom's patents and that it could no longer distribute its software in the Korean market. The lawsuit began last year when SK Telecom said Viber's ability to take stored contact information and add it to its own program violated a patent it registered in 2006. No word yet on if Viber will appeal the decision to a higher court. If SK Telecom wins that case, industry insiders expect the communication company to then go after KakaoTalk and Line. Talman Marco, CEO and founder of Viber, argued that the case was really about eliminating companies like Viber from the market and forcing Koreans back to SMS services, which they must pay for. The mobile phone carrier denies this. What's in store for China in 2015?
But I think as countries start seeing that they have fewer and fewer options, particularly the Philippines and Vietnam, they're going to start pressing their claims more actively in the international community. And I think the impact that that could have is that it could make China even more aggressive in attempting to convince those countries that that's not in their best interest to do that, and it's not in the interest of stability.
You'll be able to hear that entire conversation with Mark Kozat of the RAND Corporation coming up at 12:01 p.m. on Asia Now. Be sure to keep up with news from the region by following Asia News Weekly on Facebook or Twitter. You can send an email to the show with your questions, your comments, and your feedback. Just drop a line to podcast@asianewsweekly.net. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends. And while you're at it, subscribe to this and other podcasts at our website, asiannewsweekly.net. You can also do that in your favorite podcast application like iTunes or Stitcher. Subscribing is absolutely free, and when you do, the next episode is delivered automatically to you. Thank you so much for listening today. For the Asia Brief, I'm Steve Miller.